Hey, welcome back to Don't Run with Scissors. I'm Kelly, your favorite Jeep driving lawyer, mom of twins, 3 crazy rescue dogs, a rescue cat, 4 crazy guinea pigs, who likes to craft in her spare time, has gone back to school to learn ASL, and is trying to train for Ironman. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I think it ends up on this side. It sends me a message, it boosts my serotonin and my self-esteem. Simple as that. Honestly, for no other reason. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know the crazy you're in for, so grab your drink, let's sit down, have at it. I'm gonna rush through this video, and I do apologize up front. I have to, we're in the midst of finals, so that alone is crazy. The court is also trying to catch up their dockets here because we got so behind, but also we're coming up on the holidays, and that is when family court goes crazy. Which in some ways is good, but in some ways makes it for very stressful to layer those on top of each other. Add to that I have to rush over to the doctor to start IV antibiotics for my leg. Sucks, but hopefully that will take care of it. So fingers crossed. I thought they were going to do a pick line. Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like I have to go in every day for 6 days starting today. And that they're going to poke me and place the IV. Send blessings, because I am either going to be a really easy poke or I'm a really hard poke. And so honestly, the pick line was probably the easier way to go. But I don't know. I won't know until I get there. So again, we're going to rush through this because I'm going to go there. It's going to take about an hour, they said. I'll have another small break, at which point I have a class online. Then I have to rush to campus for my class tonight. Homework is already done for tonight. Most of my homework is done for tomorrow. The early class, I have court in the morning. It is a madhouse here. My Christmas tree is not up. It's not. I have Christmas sewing. I did buy my chocolate. I really like the Wilton chocolate that you buy like at Joann's or Walmart or where, like millions of places. I like how it melts and I like how it tastes. So I take pretzel rods and I dip them in chocolate and then put the sprinkles on it. Usually, like when the kids were little, that was something they could do, and we gift those. I just gave away my secret because most people don't understand that I use Wilton chocolate. I melt it in my microwave. I mean, it's not like, this is not a fancy treat, but people love them and request them. The other thing you can do with your Wilton chocolate, and melt it slowly, like 30 seconds. The first time, if you dump the bag into your little bowl, put it on for a minute, stir it, then 30-second increments, because if you do it too much, you will fry your chocolate and then it's gross and you can't really save it. It's just nasty. At that point, you just throw it out. If you buy, okay, so if you get the plastic spoons, okay, here's my really cheap, thrifty tip of the week. You can get McDonald's spoons, or most places, like if you go out to like fast food places, they have the extra spoons. Grab a couple extra every time you go in. You can dip the spoon in your like your melted chocolate, lay it on parchment paper or wax paper, and sprinkle like either sprinkles or crushed up candy cane. It is an inexpensive, easy gift to put in a basket and gift people that they love. Because then you just stir it, like your spoon, you stir it in your cup of coffee. Kind of like a cocoa bomb, but I don't have the patience to make a cocoa bomb. I'm just being flat out honest. I don't. No. No. Plus, it's another mold I have to keep track of. Like it's just another thing in my already cluttered house. No. I am also hoping, so this week I have hearings, I have classes, I have the online video, 3 hours on Wednesday night about ASL and ethics online, like when you're interpreting online. And then Thursday night, we are going up to the the Michigan School of the Deaf, which is in Flint, to see the Nutcracker. I cannot wait to see how all of it is handled. Because remember, the Nutcracker is all music and singing. Like, really, it's not music. I don't know if they sing. No singing. No singing. But it's all music and dancing. And I can't wait to go and experience that, honestly, with both my kids. Both kids are going to go up with me, and and some of my classmates, I'm going to soak it all in. I'm so excited. This past Saturday, several classmates and I went up to Lansing for an all-day seminar where half of the class was already interpreters, and then they also had like students could join in as well. So because it's working on classifiers, which is something my teacher wanted me to work more on. She's like, look, you have the skills, add them in. And I was like, you know. So we went up to Lansing, or over to Lansing. I was exhausted by the time we got back because it was literally 8 hours of all ASL. And I am not used to having like my eyes on something and concentrating. And what I've realized is really and truly that's a hearing privilege that we don't have to do that. Like I could have, but it was so good. It was so good to know too. I can hold my own. Like I understood everything we talked about on Saturday. I think there was one line that I kind of looked at her and she signed it a slightly different way. And I was like, oh, okay. I gotcha. So that was so exciting. So I still have some homework. Actually, I have what feels like a boatload of homework to do for tomorrow's classes. But I had to take a deep breath and go, wait a second, I am sick. My body is totally fighting whatever is going on. I mean, we're talking 3 rounds of oral antibiotics not working. Like whatever is going on, it's snowballing and it's affecting other things. Like my breathing is getting rough. So my asthma has totally flared up. And I'm having to rely on my inhaler, which I have never, like, I hardly ever use my inhaler unless I'm really sick. Like, when I get an upper respiratory infection, sometimes I'll use it. If it's really, really cold, that will shut down my lungs and I'll need it. But really and truly, probably with the exception of when I had pneumonia and bronchitis and I had COVID, I hadn't used my inhaler in over a year, probably close to 2 or 3 years, honestly. So it's very weird. So we're having to do that. And that's like, so we're going to all hope that the IV antibiotics, the 6 days course, stops this, that the swelling in my leg, the pain in my leg all go away so that then I can go and have my back taken care of. And I can actually take a deep breath. So, again, during break, I will still be working. I will be practicing ASL. And I'm looking forward to 3 weeks of just a little bit less go. What else? That's really about it. I've told the kids repeatedly, all I want for Christmas is a clean, organized house. Whether I get that, I can't tell you. I don't know. But fingers crossed. Another one of those fingers crossed. So yeah, so we're just going to take everything one day at a time. I did end up, I don't know if I explained it to you guys last week, how my one class, I got dropped out of, but there was some miscommunication. I got dropped. Then when I went to add it, I'm on the waiting list. I got into that class Saturday morning. I got the note from the college, the email saying you have so many days to take advantage of the fact that you got the seat. So I promptly went online and registered. So I have all 3 classes that I need next semester to keep going. Like I said, I'm banking hours already for next semester. So after I do the modules during break, the modules that I have signed up to do that are self-paced, that's almost 40 hours alone right there. So I'm looking pretty good going forward. I just need to finish up these 3 classes. So now we need financial aid to figure out their crap. But okay. So, but this is a cross stitch channel, not a not about my entire life. You guys don't need to, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Deep breath. Okay. I'm warning you too, the dog bells will probably go off while we're filming. I will try my best to pause it, but we all know how cuckoo my dogs are. Okay, so what have I been stitching? I'm so glad you asked. I have been actually able to stitch it. Honestly, it feels like quite a bit, and I don't know why it's worked out that way, but part of it I think is because I have had to sit and not really do anything. So, yeah. So I worked a little bit on Marine Corps emblem. So I finished that inner ring like I wanted, and I have started doing the center red. And I am actually down to where the bubble will go in here that says Semper Fi. Pretty good. And then I have to, I will say my counting on this gold band got a little wonky, but I don't think it's bad enough that I need to totally unstitch it. I'm just going to need to kind of be mindful of when I count out to do the center medallion. So what I've decided to do, and I'm going to show a little bit of the picture, but like really and truly, if you're that smart that you can capture all of that and figure out what I'm doing, then more power to you. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this. I am going to count from the far edge. So like this border, count in to where it should be. And then I'm going to count off of that to do the eagle, and then I'll fill in with the red. I think that is the most logical approach at this point that will make it so that none of those errors end up throwing off the center eagle, because if you know the Marine Corps emblem, it is an eagle that's kind of like got his claws on the globe, like on the earth. I don't know. And then there's like, is it an anchor? I think it's an anchor that's like behind it as well. So I think that logically that makes the most sense. If anybody has a different approach to it, let me know. But I was very excited to know that we are closing in on this thing being finished. If I really, and I thought about this, I thought about changing the square that says Lady of the Flag, which is my only square left on my Whipco board this year. Man, I am jacking this up. Okay. To 10 more days of just concentrating on this, because I think if I got some really good solid days of stitching, we likely could have this finished right around the first of the new year, so that I could gift it. My friend Renee and I don't usually exchange gifts until January anyways. After sort of all of the holiday crazy, it's our time to just go out and go, look, it's girls' day. And so since this is for Renee's husband, I thought, okay, I might do that. And part of that was because every time I went to the Kinko's to print off Lady of the Flag's pattern, my working copy, they were flipping closed, and I was just getting really frustrated. I'm like, I want a blackout on my board. I really do. I'm this close. I mean, I only have the one square, and that would knock out another whip. And hold this thought because the dog bells are going off. Okay, so where was it? Oh, okay. So we have Marine Corps emblem. Let's see, what else did I stitch on? I think the third part comes out today. I have not finished even the first part. It's only 4 parts. That is the stitch along that is free from Historic Stickmeister. I know that you can always buy the pattern after the sale is done if you've missed things. I don't know if you go to their website, if there's still, if the previous weeks are still available, if you start in it now. Nigel got one of Bean's stuffed animals.
Can I just throw it out?
I guess just let them have it. I don't know.
One of my stuffed animals.
Okay. So, I am not doing their called for colors. I'm changing it. This is starting on the 3rd bulb. Now, this will be a whole bulb, but that is part 1. I'm at least working on it. It's really pretty. I like theirs that they call for are all shades of like red and cranberry, and I think maybe, let me see. Okay, just in case I didn't, because it's, okay, that's where you go. And there's no, let's see. So the called for is brown, red, dark antique pink, and light antique pink. But they do, I don't even know how to say it, but it's silks. I'm just stitching in DMC. So like, I mean, it literally is 4 parts. So I'm still working on this first part. And I just pulled, I wanted a more pastel Christmassy colors, not traditional red and green, because I'm weird like that. So I'm going to keep plugging away at that. And this is just a piece of 18 count cream Ada. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy, because it doesn't need to be. Okay, and I'm so fancy and bougie on this one. It's in a Ziploc because I have not, excuse me, I have the hiccups. I have not pulled up my sewing machine and sewed more project bags. I have them cut out. I have the zipper stitched in. But that's as far as that got. Okay. The other thing that I have been working on, which is on a piece of 32 count opal linen by Stitch Me, is the Peace and Light menorah from Satsuma Street. And I will continue working on this to show my support of my Jewish friends until it is done, at which point then I will start the next Jewish theme pattern that I have. Because for somebody who was raised very strict Roman Catholic, I own a lot of Jewish patterns. And I'm not mad about that. In fact, I'm kind of happy about that. So that is the base of the menorah and the flower. This is actually really nice fabric to stitch on. It is a thicker linen than the Fortnite fabric one that I am stitching on. This one has a lot more body to it. But it's an absolute gorgeous dark mottled blue with a tinge of green. I definitely have more than enough room. So maybe, I don't think I have enough room to do two of them on the same piece, but I would definitely have enough to then stitch some ornaments, which that's fine with me. It's fine. That's not a problem. Okay, let's see, what else did I stitch? I did pull out, and I did throw in a couple stitches in it so far, but that is Under the Seesaw by Frosted Pumpkin. I am working on this, the release for down here. It's a bunch of coral, and then I will bring down the sides of the border. Like Janet, I'm still not so 100% sure if I will add Under the Sea, or depending on what the bottom border is, if I will just bring it up and under. Now I did add beads because they're supposed to look like jewels in the treasure chest. So we'll see. So my goal is to maybe over the next day or two to throw that section in. I took this one to the doctor this morning, which is where I got some of the stitches in. Since I have to go back, I may just go ahead and keep working on it. Okay. So then I'm on the way home, I made it over to Kinko's. I printed out my working copy of Lady of the Flag. This is where I was, but here's the problem. So I'm trying to mark off what I've stitched, right? And I am realizing that when I piece my pirated copy together, things didn't quite line up, and I have a lot of mistakes. And I think I could budget enough to, like, in stitching, I could kind of fix them. But do I want to keep having to do that until I can get past this, like this big section, and then have to remember it when I go to add the back stitching in? I don't know. Or should I just call this one off? Just go, sorry, and start over. I mean, I clearly have enough fabric, and I actually have even more of the gray because I dyed it. So I mean, I have more. It's not like I'm short on the fabric. So I haven't decided, but I have to decide pretty soon because otherwise I won't get my 10 days in before the end of the year. So we have to decide because I need a blackout on my bingo board. That is all of the stitching that I did this last week, which is actually a lot considering everything. Going forward, just going to keep plugging away at things. I'm kind of like, I want the 10 days done on Lady of the Flag, very obviously. So I've got to make that decision. But I also need to, and I know what I want to do for next, like my whip go board for next year and sort of my goals. But I kind of want to stitch what I want during Christmas break, during those 3 weeks off. It's kind of like, I just want to kind of have a free for all. I have decided to participate in the 12 by 12 with Kia B and the gang for New Year's Eve. However, and I have identified 12 whips that I'm going to do 12 whips. I'm not going to do 12 new starts. God, no. What I made, so I've kind of picked 12 whips that I haven't touched because they weren't on my whip go board. Some of them I actually haven't touched since last New Year's Eve. But I'm going to do the same process where, like last year, I stitched until I kind of, like, if I got to the end of the hour and I still wanted to keep stitching because I was in a groove, I just kept stitching on that same project. So I have those listed, and I am thinking about working on Anne Frank, Ask Not, my By the Sea sal, which is from Four Boys and an NL Girl, my Juliana bookcase, my banana fob, which shouldn't take me an hour to finish, uh, Harriet Tubman, the this sal, uh, Hugs by Barbara Laverly, which I haven't touched since this time last year, Patio Crabby, because that would be fun to have done, or further work on it, because I don't think I worked on him this last year either. I have a little thing for Pusheen to do for my daughter. I've done the other two, and now there's the third one, on the piece of Ada that's like this big. So I have that down. And honestly, I don't think that will take me the whole hour. So I might put that one first just because it will get me like excited because, hey, I've got a finish already. And then the last one I have pulled to work on that day is the Santa Travels sal, which I worked on earlier this year and started to get into a good groove and started to really enjoy it more. And then my 10 days were up and I put it away and I haven't worked on it since. So, yeah. So I have all of those. I have it figured out that I have 49 current whips. That is a problem, but I'm hoping some of them possibly could have a finish if I just focus on them even for a short amount of time. Some of them are going to be long-term whips. They're just huge projects. So, certainly I'm not going to finish Jeep Van Gogh next year. I know that. That's going to be an ongoing whip for probably a good 2 years. But Monopoly maybe could be a finish next year. And some of these other little ones, Banana Fob absolutely could be a finish. My Self-Love Sampler, my 3D Gingerbread House, all of those, like, those are ones that with a little bit of focus and attention could be done. And so in addition to playing with Go and stuff and using my playing card method, I think that I will see some finishes this year. Hopefully more finishes than new starts. That's my goal. So with that said, I'm going to run. I have to go to get my first infusion. If you need me, feel free to message me on Instagram as His Princess Kelly or wherever else we might be able to communicate. And until next week, I will see you all later. Bye, guys.